This is Marty Stewart with SeminarSecrets.com. You can hear the complete version of this big seminar interview by going to www.SeminarSecrets.com.
So again, folks, let's do this. You have myself, Alexandria Brown, and Bruce is here as well too as our conduit between us. So what we're going to do tonight, though, is first what I'd like to do is you've already heard my spiel in the beginning, so I'm not going to go into that. But what I want to do is I want to get right into the call with Allie and actually tell you a little bit about her. She's been featured in Entrepreneur Magazine. She's been in several major publications. She, the thing is that I said this earlier, and that is, you need to learn from someone that's truly an expert at the field in which you're trying to learn. And Alexandria is the person who you need to speak with, that you need to learn from when it comes to an e-zine. So again, this is the key to success. So Alexandria, for me, the first thing I'd like to do is welcome you to the conference call tonight.
Thank you very much, and I'm glad I'm finally here.
Oh, we got a phone call in the background. That's all right. Well, folks, what I want to do, Alexandria, is that I know you've been online for quite some time, but I want to find out from you is what was your background prior to becoming to getting on the internet?
Yeah, and when I was little, I said I wanted to be an e-zine queen when I grew up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I said I'm going to be an e-zine queen. Actually, let's see. About 5 years ago is when I walked out of my last job. I was a copywriter at a New York ad agency. And what a copywriter does is she writes the words for ads and brochures and whatever projects we were working on for clients. And I decided to go on my own. And I said, I'm going to be a freelance writer and make all this money. I was in for a rude awakening because I didn't realize my full-time job would not be doing what I love to do, which was writing, but instead marketing myself. And I went to the traditional way of just one-on-one marketing to people and found it was very, very slow. And at that time, the Internet was just really starting to become hot, and I saw these email newsletters out there and thought, well, that's a great way for me to even just keep in touch with the clients that I have. And so I put together a simple marketing tip that I sent out just once a month. And I saw that tip just grow, and my list started to grow. I started getting business. I started getting referrals, speaking engagements. All these things snowballed out of this simple e-zine that I put out on a regular basis. And it also positioned me as an expert in my field by default in copywriting. And when I realized I was having so much success, and my friends started realizing I was having so much success, they asked me for a resource that they could turn to learn how to publish an e-zine that really got them business.
Right.
And I couldn't find one. And so I decided to write my own, and that's my Boost Business with Your Own e-zine tutorial. And I became the e-zine queen, and things just really snowballed from there. And now I make a full-time living online teaching other people how to publish e-zines that get them business.
Let's talk about that for a moment, because one of the things I think that you did that was very important is that you didn't really go into this full bore, this e-zine from the start. You start out with this very simple tip.
Yes.
Something that was, I don't know how long it was, but I would imagine it's pretty short, pretty to the point, and it wasn't this huge, laborious task that you had to write pages upon pages for.
No, and a lot of people come to me and say, well, I don't like writing articles. How am I going to publish? And the answer is you don't have to write articles. I actually like writing articles. It's a sick thing. I really love doing that.
That is
some people can I love it. I'll give you the 7 ways to do this and 11 mistakes of this, and I can package articles pretty easily. And there are formulas to do that, which I teach, that make it easier. But this can be as simple as one tip you send out once a week, at the least once a month. I recommend you publish at least once a month to touch people. And just staying in front of people on a regular basis, just that fact alone, without even being that compelling in your information, just that fact alone, being in front of people will increase your business. And that's just the beginning.
Well, one of the people I know that's a very well-known marketer that many people on this call are probably familiar with is Marlon Sanders. Marlon, doesn't write a huge e-zine or anything. He just sends out a tip.
Mm-hmm.
And because he said he doesn't like writing, so a tip is good enough. And he's got some great tips, just very short, to the point. And that's the way he still does it to this day.
Yes.
He does it. But now, with one of the things that you said just in this brief few minutes since we started talking was you said you started getting business from your e-zine, from your tips that you were sending out.
Yes.
And that's where I find that a lot of people online aren't doing is they're not monetizing their e-zines that they're sending out.
Yeah, and there, this depends on your business. I know we have some people on the call. A lot of the people on my list who came to the call are solo professionals, and they offer a service. They're a coach or consultant,
right,
or a copywriter and designer. And there's other people who are marketing information products or products. Either way, you want to make sure you're sharing information that showcases your services and products. So when I work with clients, I reverse engineer it, and we start with their business or their products. And working back from there, that's how we decide what type of content they're going to share.
So we start with basically the end result first.
Yes. What do you want the reader to do? Is
right.
it to come to your site to learn more about hiring you, or is it to purchase your home study course, or is it to sign up for your teleclass? And this could vary issue to issue, but overall, you should know why you want them to read this thing.
So now what you're doing is let's start, just backtrack a little bit. You're giving them a little bit of information, kind of giving them a taste of what you know.
Yeah.
Kind of like a preview call.
Exactly. And the great thing about this is you're giving them a real sample of it. Traditional advertising, we just come out and say how great we are or how great the product is. Buy this product because it's fabulous. Well, by sharing information like you're doing with these preview calls and like I do in my e-zine, I really give a lot away. And just like you're doing in these calls, too. If you give information away, people come to respect you a lot more. And you're not bragging about yourself, but instead you are giving them a taste of you. And by doing that, you're also positioning yourself as the expert by default, and you're building up a level of trust with people. And people buy from people who they feel they know, they like, and they trust. And over time, that really builds up to a great relationship.
I think one of the things that people have a hard time distinguishing between is actually giving information and actually giving a sales pitch. Because I know in many e-zines, it's like, here's a sales pitch, buy this product, or buy this product, or buy my product, or buy this other person's product. Mm-hmm. And that's what it seems like all the time. I'm being pitched on something. So would you say that there's a happy medium between a so-called sales pitch and actual content-driven e-zine, and what's your opinion on that?
I think so, and you see both. Now, there are some mailing lists I'm on that are not e-zines at all, and I'm just on that person's list because I love everything they have to offer, and it's really just, all products. And a lot of the guys will be on stage with me in March, do that. And then there are some who have the e-zines, and their strategy is sharing content. And I've always been someone to share information and share the content. But the best ratio I've seen, and I got this originally from J. Conrad Levinson, the father of guerrilla marketing, is 75% content to 25% self-promotion. Now, this could be in each issue.
Sure.
Or it could be sending out, let's say, 3 issues of all content and then 1 really promotional issue.
And that's really good. And if it's in 1 issue, it's very visible. It's very graphical, I should say, that you can say, okay, well, I'm looking at the whole e-zine that I'm sending out, and here's 75% of it is my content, and then the last 25% is just promoting me.
Yeah, and I actually, because my e-zine's longer now and I have different sections, I literally printed it out and cut it up with scissors and looked at it because I was concerned it was getting a little too promotional. I'm just curious. I just wanted to do a checkup on it. And that was very helpful also to just visually see how much I was talking about my programs and services that can help people and how much I was just really opening up and sharing information.
Well, wouldn't you say that also your e-zine also gives you a way to update your content in many ways?
Yeah, and even if people buy my programs, I really want them on that list because I can send out the latest information on, the spam laws and things that I'm learning about spam filters. That's a really hot topic right now. And so, as an example, that's something I can just dash out when I learn about this information.
And and I think that's really, and the other part, let's talk about the other aspect of that. If you're looking at just that, like you said, you cut up yours and you just kind of laid it out on a desk or something, and just to kind of gauge out what you were doing. But now the other way is fairly easy, is 3 content-driven ones and then 1 promotional email.
Yeah, I think that's a good balance, because if you're sending out, too much promotion, people get off the list. They really get ticked off, and I have people come to me and they want to start publishing right away, and the first thing they want to send out is pretty much an ad for one of their programs or services.
Right.
And I say, no way. You got to get just a few issues out under your belt before you hit them in the head with some type of offer. Once you build up that relationship, they will love to know what else you have to offer, your programs and products. But until then, you got to build up that relationship first.
Now, what would you say, I know this is probably a big question for you, is frequency.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is better? I know there's many people do it once a week. Some people do it once every 2 weeks. Some people do it once a month, and some people it's just whenever they feel like it.
Yeah, and I recommend the least amount to publish is monthly. I've had some clients say, I'm not even sure if I can do a monthly e-zine. And I said, you know what? If you can't, something's better than nothing. However, just at least once a month, you want to tap people and just remind them that you're alive and that you're
Right.
there. So at least monthly. And I usually recommend no more than weekly because we are all getting so much information that it's just kind of hammering people. You don't want to be in front of them every day. I even want my good friends to call me usually more than once a week. just too much going on, Just check in with me once a week. Let me know what's going on. Now, I've seen some dailies out there, too, but here's what happens with that. I was subscribed to, I can't remember this guy's name, it was about a year ago, had a really great daily marketing e-zine, but it had, in-depth articles. It wasn't just a tip. And I subscribed because the information was so great.
Sure.
But a few days I kept up with it, and then the next few days I just couldn't keep up with it, so I put it in the to read later folder.
Right.
I think we all have, and it's just a joke.
Yeah.
I'll read this later. And they started piling up, and every time I looked at them, I felt guilty. And so finally I unsubscribed because I just couldn't keep up with it. So daily is pretty overwhelming unless you have an e-zine that is breaking news, such as one of my clients right now has a stock trading e-zine.
Sure.
And that's going to be daily. He's sharing cutting-edge information that changes almost by the minute.
Right, and that's very appropriate for most part. I know. I would dread the fact of having to write an e-zine every day.
Oh, God, it would kill me. It's just horrible. Some people get away with it, but it's a very rare occurrence, and also you'll really burn yourself out and your readers out.
Now, what about? On your e-zine, and what's your recommendation as far as archiving?
Here's what I do. Some people archive their entire e-zine at their site. The
Sure.
exact issue as it appears. My take is that that's kind of a waste because if I go back and look at an issue you had a year ago, there's going to be stuff in there that is completely not relevant now, like maybe teleclasses you had going on or
Right.
events you were promoting, and there's a lot of junk in there. What I do and what I suggest people do is take out that main article or tip and archive those at your website. So
Sure.
after 3 years of publishing, I have a huge library at my site of articles. And that not only gets you more traffic to your site because people love free information like that, but it's great for the search engines because you have all this content.
Yeah, search engines all related to one article, one topic for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to get you much higher rankings in the search engine and drive essentially more traffic to your site. So
yeah,
that's a fantastic way. Now, with the e-zines, there's the hardest part I think for most people, and probably many people on this call, is really just starting out. What would be a simple, and again, let's say a 2 or 3 step game plan if you could figure out a way for a person just to start off the bat?
Sure. There are what I call the 3 pillars of successful e-zine publishing. And pillar number 1 is content. The first base, the first thing you want to think about is what type of content you're going to feature. And what will determine that content is your business or your products that you want to promote. So 2 questions here. One is, what is the one call to action you'd really like them to take, whether it's purchasing a product or working with you as a coach or consultant. The second question is, who is your target market? And those 2 answers are going to determine the type of content you'll share. Because your goal is to showcase yourself or your products in that e-zine and make you the authority. Or the expert in their eyes in that area. And our mutual mentor, John Childers, who I'm so excited is going to be speaking with us in March, came out and said it, though, that you don't have to be the expert. You can be the reporter. And, when I started my e-zine, I wasn't an expert on e-zines, and I still don't like to use that word because I'm not all-knowing. You know, I'm not God, and I don't know everything about e-zines there
Sure.
is to know in the entire world. However, I know a damn lot, and I know a damn lot more than most people.
Right.
But how I got started in the beginning was just researching. So don't feel like you have to be the expert in a certain area. People just love time-saving information. So put together resources, put together tips, put together reviews of books or software or seminars. You know, go to seminars all year and review them in your e-zine. I think that'd be fun.
That'd
be
be
a fun
good
job, and then you can write off all the seminars you go to.
That'd be a good evening.
It would. I actually would sign up for that. Whoever takes that idea, please give me credit.
I'll send you an email next week.
Okay. All right, JV.
It's called seminargenerator.com.
Yeah.
But you know, so initially, you know, it may not even be. Well, let's talk about this because you said part of it, but I just want to clarify for some people. I mean, would you say that the content initially doesn't have to be yours,
or does other people's content if you want to? It depends. Okay, if you're
because if you're using someone else's content, that kind of ruins the positioning a little bit.
Exactly. There's two different ways to look at it. If you are a professional person, you want to position yourself as an expert, then you should be writing almost all the time. Now, when I'm traveling or if I want to do a friend a favor, sometimes I will run a guest article. It's very rare, but I will.
Sure.
And if I do that with a friend, then usually they'll run my article in their e-zine as well.
Right.
If you do this on a regular basis, though, you are losing out on the whole benefit of positioning yourself as the expert.
Let's just go back to that idea about the friend, because I think that was we just touched that, but I think it's a very important point for people, and it's basically an article swap.
Yeah.
I mean, you write an article, your friend writes an article, you switch it, and you send. You get exposed. Your friend gets exposed to your list, and you get exposed to their list.
Mm-hmm. And that's very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I could see where that could anybody would do that. I mean, why not? I mean, you're just getting exposed to a whole new group of people, whether it be 1,000 people, 10,000 people, or 100,000 people.
Yeah, and that's one of the best ways when we get to Pillar 3, which is promotion. One of the best ways is to reach a bunch of people at once, and getting in others' e-zines and in front of other people's lists is a huge way to do that.
Okay. So with what we have right now, I mean, so basically we can start off with someone else's content, if need be, or we could just simply review stuff that we already have. I mean, like you mentioned, like reviewing software. I mean, I think that's one thing. If we have a computer, we all buy software to make our lives easier. You could review the software. You could review a book that you've done. You could review a course. Now, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if you reviewed something and you liked it, you'd probably give your affiliate link, right?
Yeah, affiliate link is a great way to generate extra money, and I'm not ashamed. I'll do that in my e-zine because I only recommend products or services that I have used myself. And and have really enjoyed. And you get into dangerous territory when you start recommending any and every program or product that comes out. That's when people start losing respect for you. Another tip I want to give, Armand, is that as far as content goes, whether it's yours or someone else's, be sure to give it your own personal spin. So even if you're having a guest article, give your own introduction. Or sometimes I'll even stick in a sidebar in the middle of the article and give my comment on something that they just said, because that's still keeping that personal connection with your readers. And that's just so important. If there's one thing I've learned over the last 4 years of publishing, is that when I'm more of a person and more personal, my response goes up dramatically.
Now, one of the things you just mentioned was that you said you've done 4 years of publishing so far, and you've also stated that you have just a huge amount of articles that are on your site, which I've been to, and I've seen all your articles. In fact, I've actually read every one.
Wow.
Honestly, I can say that I've read every single one of your articles.
And that's good because they're not even all up there, so I'll have some more for you too.
Everything that's on your site, I've read them all. So put some more up. But I went through all.
You have just listened to a portion of this Big Seminar interview. To get the complete version, simply go to www.seminarsecrets.com. Find out how you can attend the next Internet Marketing Big Seminar. And for a very special offer you can't refuse, visit www.seminarsecrets.com.